Good morning and thank you for joining us on Citizen Extra. My name is Lillian Muli in News Shaping the Day. Today we'll be getting more details on an attack in Liboy where 3 administration police have been killed and 2 injured. We'll be getting more details on that developing story from that part of the country. Also on Citizen Extra, civil society organizations have called on vetting agencies to bar 20 aspirants from the August polls. This happening at Lillian Towers, and we will be listening in to conversations going on there as Citizen Extra continues. Also on Citizen Extra, the Chief Justice is set to admit over 400 lawyers as advocates. Wilkis Tanyaba will be updating us on that as the advocates are admitted to the bar, and indeed the Senate Public Accounts Committee has summoned Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya, the EACC, the IBC and the Inspector General to establish the way forward on Wycliffe Oparanya ignoring summons by the Senate Public Accounts Committee. This is the first time that he'll be appearing before the Public Accounts Committee, and we'll be talking to Stephen Leto, who is going to be updating us on conversations that are likely to be going on there. As we begin Citizen Extra, our guest analyst in studio this morning, just an intro of them. With me in studio is Mohammed Abdubadiba. He's a presidential candidate. Also with me in studio this morning is Justice Juma, also a presidential candidate, and Gabriel Musuma, a governance analyst. And good morning, gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us. Before we get into our conversations of the day, we are crossing over to Stephen Leto. As I just mentioned, Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya has been summoned by the Senate Public Accounts Committee. Stephen Leto, what are we expecting? What issues are we expecting the Senate Public Accounts Committee to raise, and indeed, why is the EACC, the IBC, and the Inspector General expected to attend that session?
Well, a very good morning to you, Lillian Muli in studio. It is a tricky situation here for Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya. He has snubbed the Senate sittings for both financial years, that is the 2013-2014 and the 2014-2015 financial year, and now the 2015-2016 financial year. What has happened is the Senate Public Accounts and Investment Committee, chaired by Kisumu Senator Peter Anyang' Nyong'o, has resolved to invite or summon the agencies that are tasked on the investigation, that is including the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, the Director of Public Prosecutions, Keriako Tobiko, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, of course I've mentioned there, Alake Wako, as well as the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, and the Inspector General of Police, Joseph Boynet, to appear before that committee to make deliberations to the committee on the consequences that Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya is going to face for snubbing the Senate and not appearing before the oversight body in Parliament to explain to answer to audit queries that were raised by the Office of the Auditor General. Remember, a lot of queries had been attached to the documents by the Auditor General regarding the expenditure that Kakamega County Executive and the County Assembly, for that matter, has been using the funds of the county. A lot of money had been pumped to Kakamega, just like many other counties, but the Auditor General said that there was a lot of misappropriations of funds and that there was no supporting documents to show why the county government of Kakamega spent millions in various projects. Oparanya, Lillian, has also been accused of diverting funds that were meant for other projects and taking it to other projects, as well as faulting the procurement laws, that is the Procurement and Disposal Act of 2005. And so today's session that has been convened by the Senate Public Accounts and Investment Committee, should it mature, then it means then IEBC will be requested to explain how they could even bar Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya from seeking re-election for what the Senate Committee is terming as a lack of accountability from the governor, because failure to appear to that committee means that he is not committed in showing how he has been utilizing the funds and why he cannot appear before the committee to explain the expenditure that Kakamega County has been incurring. For the public prosecutor, the IG, that is Joseph Boynet, the possibility of arresting Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya. Remember, arrest summons were issued last year against the governor, whereby the Senate had written to the Inspector General of Police to arrest Oparanya and present him to the committee in handcuffs. But what happened is Oparanya swiftly moved to court, acquired or got a court order barring the Senate from barring the IG from arresting him, and subsequently the Senate from discussing the issue of the finances regarding the county of Kakamega. And so is the investigating agency, the DCI, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. But remember now, what is facing now the governor is, should now then these agencies collude and have him barred from office, then it means he might not be cleared to contest for his re-election in the August 8 polls. Remember, that is a process that is ongoing, and even the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights had moved to court saying that there are several aspirants that have not been accountable or are facing integrity questions, these amounting to one for Oparanya, and that forming the basis of discussion before that parliamentary committee in the Senate that is oversighting counties. A lot then is expected going forward. We are waiting to see whether the agencies will respond to the Senate summons to appear before it today. Remember, there is what we are terming as a very few days remaining before this term of parliament comes to an end. Remember, it is headed to a synodi on the 16th of June. That, of course, bringing the business of parliament to a stop ahead of the August 8 polls. And so going to the next election before this committee concludes oversighting the books of counties, particularly Oparanya and Kakamega County for this matter, in the 2013-2014, 2014-2015 financial year, then paints a glaring or a damning image on that particular committee on why they could not complete the oversight of those counties. But lastly, Lillian, the issue of the committee not having the teeth to bite these county governors who are being termed as rogue and cannot account for the finances, of course, that expected also to feature in this sitting that is expected to be held any time from now. And so, Lillian, I'll be keeping you posted. I'll also be trying to check whether we can get hold of the committee chairman, Peter Nyang Nyongo, to tell us then what next for the committee should now Oparanya not appear before that particular committee. Lillian.
Many thanks, Stephen Little, staying with that story, and you will be updating us in subsequent bulletins with the latest from that end. Now, on Citizen Extra today, 75 days to the August polls, we are looking at the other presidential hopefuls. With me in studio, Mohammed Abdubadiba, who's a presidential candidate, Justice Juma, also a presidential candidate, and our governance analyst in studio, Gabriel Muthuma. Gentlemen, once again, good morning. We do know that the independents are a worried lot in their attempt to dethrone President Uhuru Kenyatta. They're complaining of poor treatment and demand a level playing field. And this emerged yesterday as during the IEBC pre-nomination meeting. And I'll start with you, Abdubadiba. Why are you of the opinion that you are not getting a level playing field?
Well, when we actually approach elections, the many candidates who aspire for various positions is a clear indication that there is a problem, and we accept that there is a problem. Now, when institutions will conclude that it is a two-horse race, it is this community and that community, these phenomena and these philosophies are not acceptable. In a community that has accepted and has agreed that there is a problem, solutions may come, and you never know who could be sent to save the country. So when two leaders were there. One is already a failure, and another one has failed for the last 50 years. Then you want to cheat people that it is a two-horse race, and then those vying on an independent ticket are actually most of them youth. These are young graduates, these are young scholars. They have an idea. They should be given the opportunity and they should be listened. When political brokers and those who mastered the art of exploiting Kenyans and poor people want to actually go to every media house and every newspaper and every institution and every function. They go to all the churches for services. I don't think whether they are going there to please God, but they want every avenue to show people, to cause people to think and reason, to cause people to start talking about, it is me inheriting from that community has failed, I'm better, I want to help, you are both failures.
Okay,
give an opportunity.
Right.
If a woman or a man thinks of, I want to be the president of this country, it's not an easy thing. Even thinking of that should be appreciated. The
thought alone should be appreciated, and we'll be coming back to you with more on that. Let's listen into excerpts of the pre-nomination meeting yesterday, where the IEBC outlined the rules and regulations ahead of the general election, as well as disqualification elements that could lead to immediate disqualification from the presidential race. Let's listen in.
The independents are a worried lot in their attempt to dethrone President Uhuru Kenyatta. Their biggest hurdle so far, a requirement by Section 29 of the Elections Act of 2011 that they must be endorsed by at least 40,000 voters who must not belong to any political party. That concern shared by candidates of smaller parties, as they too must ensure their list of supporters are from their political parties.
Clearly, IEBC has set up a trap to rule out and to cancel out independent candidates in country.
I think you need to come out clean here whether you are trying to apply technicality in disqualifying people.
We cannot come and say, let's now do away with these provisions unilaterally. And that is the position of the Commission, that we must follow the law.
It is very unfortunate because it is affecting institutions. Somebody is already talking of it is a two-horse race.
Some of the independents, most of whom are in the race for the first time, feeling discriminated by IEBC in the conditions for submission of the list of endorsers. The deadline for submission was Monday midnight.
Yesterday I took my signatures. They were rejected on the technicality that they are not in Excel. That form that I was given, where anywhere in this thing I've never seen Excel written anywhere.
Don't worry. Present what you have and focus more on God than the sick people we have in this country.
Why don't you just sit with these difficult people who are not very difficult people? Resolve them, then we can move, Mr. Chairman. That's what I'll suggest.
The aspirants also challenging a constitutional requirement that presidential candidates must be university degree holders.
So I don't know where IEBC got this option that as for president you have to run for candidacy of Kenya's president with a degree. There is no such constitution provision.
IEBC will receive the presidential candidates' papers this Sunday and Monday for clearance and issuance of nomination certificates. The 18 aspirants will be subjected to a thorough scrutiny on integrity and personality, including,
if you are of unsound mind, then you would be disqualified, or if you are undischarged bankrupt, then you would also be disqualified.
The IEBC chair has also dismissed the opposition's threat of boycotting the August election based on the outcome of a case IEBC has lodged at the Court of Appeal seeking to regain power to alter presidential results declared at constituency level where errors exist.
There will be an election on 8th of August, and I want to urge those making such comments to respect the rule of law.
It's a tough battle the independent presidential candidates have to fight, on one hand having to deal with the perception that they enjoy low popularity among the electorate, perhaps caused by their late entry into the race, but on the other having to deal with the feeling that they have already been prejudiced against by the system. In the end, it seems it might be survival for the fittest. Sam Gituku, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
And with me in studio once again, Justice Juma, who's also a presidential candidate. Justice Juma, the narrative that this is a two-horse race, perhaps coming from the premise that you suffer low popularity, a lot of you are little known. In fact, a lot of the independent presidential candidates are trying this, are making an attempt for the very first time, and therefore suffering low popularity because of their late entry into the race.
Well, Lillian, this is a general perception, majorly also fueled by the media, but you've seen presidential campaigns contended all over the world. Even in the United States of America, we had issues with Trump, where Trump came out strongly against the mainstream media, and at the end of it all, he ended up winning the election. You can look at the France case. Macron came from an independent level or angle, where actually he was not from the conventional style of politics, and the France level playing environment, I think, enhanced an equitable opportunity for all of them, and this is why he got the opportunity that they got. But still, back to us, I know there's a lot of negative energy sometimes around, and Kenya needs healing, because Kenya has gone through a lot, and would love leaders who bring or inject the needed positive energy right now. I've seen the engagement that on how people engage IEBC. IEBC has a uphill task. It's not an easy thing to organize an election, especially in this environment. You remember what happened to the previous commission, and it's also not easy to please everybody. I would call upon everybody to appreciate, because in every contest there should be regulations and rules, which we need, and the fact that there are such reactions show us that indeed those requirements are good enough, and people are feeling the pressure, which ought to be, because this is not an exercise. You want to be a president of a nation, we would not want to bend it so low to compromise the quality of leadership that Kenya ought to have.
Gabriel, the IBC is an independent institution. Do you feel like it is discriminating the independents? Are they actually being accorded a level playing field, or do you see some bias being directed towards them?
IBC has had is also a share of blame on regards to timelines, because majority have raised concerns on the shift of goalposts, especially on timelines. You gazette specific timelines, and the alteration or the implementation, like you remember the CRS, the candidate registration management system, the gazetted day when it was to be on for members to upload their membership list, and even the content that we needed to collect from at least 24 counties, the date were altered, and I think, yes, those were the itches that came. But as they say, they are teething problems, which, if well communicated to all aspirants, then it becomes easy.
I'll allow you to continue that. Gabriel, is the IBC adopting technicalities to disqualify independence?
Good morning, Lillian. Let me begin by saying, yes, I've studied for quite some time what IEBC is asking from actually not independent candidates, but all candidates. And I'm yet to see a scenario where they are favoring any particular candidate. Let me begin by saying also, or adding to what I've just said, there are sets, like we just heard them talking about the sets, or the set of what you would call rules or regulations that each president or each presidential candidate must face. And if they are all equal and if they are all balanced, then I don't see a case where IEBC is hell-bent to ensure that they give a hard time to independent candidates. Honestly, Lillian, from where I'm seated, I'm yet to see any single factor that tells or drives that point home as to the fact that they are bending towards any presidential candidate. I'm yet to see.
And the law states that the independents must be endorsed by at least 48,000 voters who must not belong to any political party. For the candidates of smaller parties, their supporters are likely to come from their own parties, and then there's the challenge of them not knowing which of their supporters is a member of a political party because the IEBC has not released the register and does not expect to do so until next month. How to deal with this challenge?
I remember there was a meeting where IEBC attended, the registrar political party also attended. The registrar political party had a window where you go online, you feed your ID card number, and then you get your party status. She blocked that. When you go there to check whether this person belongs to which party, you will get a message. It has been suspended until 27th of April. She was asked in a meeting, how do you want people to assess and the system and get to know about their party status? And she said, just before everybody there, the system is working, the system is functioning. We went to her office, we quoted what she said, and she's not there was the only thing that we were told. Now, with political parties, I don't think there is a problem, because as much as I personally wrote to the IEBC and I told them we are updating our membership systems, is it not wise for the same members we are approaching to sign for the presidential support forms? Nobody responded. When we gave the forms and it was signed and brought back to our offices, IEBC said, no, we have a different set of forms. We don't want to use the forms that you downloaded. The forms are now new. Fine. Political parties will not have a problem because their membership data and their members are more than 100,000 and all that. But here comes an independent candidate with an idea to develop this nation. Could be an idea that will save us, and is an idea that we wanted to help us. How will this person identify that you are to support me and Kenyans don't know which party they belong to? Political party and the idea of a party is not any business to any Kenyan. A Kenyan may follow you today because they are sick. They follow your tribe. And they follow, even if you are a drug dealer and you show them 500 shilling, they will follow you. They don't care. We are actually very immoral. We have no respect for our own dignity and honor as human beings. We have no respect for God. We have no respect for this great nation that God has blessed us with, and we don't care. Now here comes a political aspirant and an independent candidate. He tells me, brother, I have this idea. In economy, I have this. In education, I have this. And I need you to support my presidency. And then the person will sign. This is my name, this is my ID card, this is my voter's number. I buy your idea. Now, how will the person know that this is person who supported me is in that party or is independent? How? There are so many Kenyans.
Right. And
there are so many Kenyans. Imagine when I formed the Alliance for Real Change, there are people. We started this party in 2010. We went an extra mile. Last week we were checking, and one person who was the founder of the Alliance for Real Change was found to be in a political party, Mongano what, and we were shocked. A Pangani MCA aspirant went to the registrar political party's office. He said, I was in that party, I left, and I want to join the Alliance for Real Change. Presented a resignation, it was received, signed, and then he was asked to fill a form that he's moving to this party. He did that. The forms were brought to us, we uploaded the system, we sent, We confirmed whether they received, they confirmed. Then when I was presenting their papers to IBC, he was found to be no DM. Right. I went personally to the registrar of political parties to ask, how did this mess happen? She told me, fine, it happens in Kenya. Let's now remove him from there, you know. Okay, let's give a chance to the other analysts in the studio. Before I come to you, Justice, perhaps Gabriel, help us make sense of all of this. That these presidential candidates, the independents, must now get 48,000 signatures from supporters who must not belong to any political party.
Lillian, allow me to say this. As much as I do not want to disenfranchise anybody from running, I also do not want me as a voter to be in a position where this nation is deprived of a serious leader. And as much as we would like to talk about independent candidates and candidates who have parties who are backed by serious millions of party loyalists, it's good first of all to talk about the seriousness of this platform. And for that you have to engage and put yourself into the 21st century. There are challenges, we all agree. You need somebody who is serious, somebody who is level-headed, somebody who has the knowledge to engage society in not only matters selling locality, but also to understand the geopolitics. You're talking about education, you're talking about manufacturing, you're talking about global warming, you're talking about selling your ideas to other nations, you're talking about selling your produces to other nations, you're talking about medical services for your nation. So it encompasses a serious platform for you to engage. Number one, you must start from the low end of the hierarchy to come up. You start selling your values. Like my good friend Abdul Badida has said, it's okay to sell your values. You're selling them to who? You must find people to buy not only into your dream, but also to your vision in general and also in totality. So it begins by not only you coming late, but by you setting up a serious campaign strategy and a serious campaign machine for people to start taking you seriously. And I think, Lillian,
this late into the race, Gabriel?
Yeah, exactly. And what I want to underline, Lillian, is the word serious. For people to take you serious, you must engage with them seriously. For them to see that you not only have what it takes to be a candidate who will actually foresee the welfare of 40-something million people. So it needs to be a serious. It's not about dreaming and waking up one day and saying, you know what, I think I can be a president in this country. No, you need to engage people. People must feel what you're selling. They must understand where you want to take them. It is not a joke. And so comes in people who bought into ideas of probably the forerunners. And it's good to also engage the very fact that when I look at the situation, you almost equate it with when you go for an interview. Number one, there are so many people. The word is sent out that we are looking for so and so. And even though it is a little bit different from where you are elected by the people, here you have a panel who's supposed to choose and come up with the best person for that particular assignment or for that particular job. And so when you go out there, the first thing you do is to ensure you receive as many resumes and you go over, you go over them, you find out who has made the cut. You set up at the very least, you have a minimal entry or whatever you may call, like what IBC is doing. You must come up with a cap, somewhat, some technical, call it whatever you will, but where you cap people. You see, if a degree is the entry point, then people without degrees must get out of the race. Now again, let me repeat, I'm not disenfranchising anybody, but you must come with rules and order. The next thing, you go up, depending on the people that you have, up until, Lillian, you get the best candidate. And it's not an easy journey. Many people may feel, you know what, this is disenfranchising us. For you to be told, go out there and get 40,000 signatures. No, it's a bar that must be set. Otherwise, Lillian, we will attract so many jokers. And in doing so, we are going actually to find ourselves in a situation whereby we do not have a candidate who can take the seriousness of what 21st century is requesting. And we'll have jokers running around everywhere. Just because somebody can stand in front of a camera or because somebody can read a presentation does not make them a leader. And I think I support it when it comes to the fact that we must have some level platform where we are only engaging with serious leaders. People who are able to actually sustain a campaign. It's not an easy thing leading 40-something million people.
Well, campaigns kick off this Sunday, and when we come back, Justice, I'll be asking you whether you think you're up to the task of securing 48,000 signatures. Gabriel here is saying that there is need for seriousness, that this is going to require a bit of aggressiveness on your end. We'll be coming back to you with that, but before that, let's cross over to the Senate, where the Public Accounts Committee has summoned Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya. He has previously ignored this committee's summons. This is the first time he'll be appearing before it in 2 years since he was summoned. Let's listen into what's going on there. We are just about to take a break, but before we do that, Justice Juma, a presidential candidate, are you going to be able to secure 48,000 votes 75 days to the general election? Do you feel up to the task of beating the incumbent and indeed his challenger Raila Odinga? We do know that the narrative has previously been that this is a two-horse race, which has rubbed a lot of you independent presidential candidates the wrong way. Will you be able to secure 48,000 signatures?
I have secured already, not that will I be. By the time, you remember I'm a leader of a political party. By the time my party complies and goes through the required registration provision, I had complied already, garnered all the signatories and the membership that we needed nationally in not less than 24 counties, and open offices in the very same counties. And as we're talking, you can see we've even put in candidates who are vying. If you look at them, they've spread from all over the nation. My input, just like my colleague said earlier, before we entered into this journey, it required a lot of soul searching and questions. I've been in Kenya. It's not a sudden thing that I'm rising up to this occasion. I've lived here, born from a very humble family, Lillian. My dad was as a priest who used to worship and lead prayers. My mother is a farmer. And I've been raised in the slums of Krokocho. I managed to beat all the odds. My father from there, he was also a shoemaker. And a shoemaker's son with a little income, defying all the odds, just to bring hope and also competitively manage to be in a position where we can also live like other people. Because we are not promised to be least in the face of humanity. If possible, we should also be equal, or be better among the face of humanity. And I've seen what it means to be in poverty or be raised in want. I've seen several dreams being shattered just because of lack of opportunity, probably just because of lack of school fee. I've seen lives lost because of poor health care. Some people could not raise, as we're talking right now, probably need to have around 250,000 through an accident for you to be admitted in a normal or proper hospital. And so many Kenyans are not privy to all those provisions. So I've seen a lot going through. And through this, we've managed to sit down, review. And when we began the journey, our main concern was to understand the laws, of the rules of the game, especially the electoral laws, the requirements. And that's why some of us, we are not shocked, we are not reacting, and you've not heard us complaining. If anything, we are contributing and adding solution to IBC, who really has an uphill tax. And through this, we've seen so many things which inform our choice to come out to render alternative leadership solution. because as it stands, if there was a two-horse on issue-based, on issues that are affecting Kenyans, recently you just saw the food, the biting lack of food, commodity, just very basic commodity. The inflation that is happening in our country is not seriously, ought not to be, if we could tap into the resources that we have. I give credit to Jubilee government on infrastructure and the management, bringing our nation to where it is right now 50 years down the line since colonization. But if I mirror and compare our nation with other nations, even in Africa, and leave alone Africa but globally, we are in a global community where our children should also be second to none. And the provision that can make them be second to none are being hindered and sit upon by individuals whose interests, as we've seen, actually has been informed by greed, selfishness, and also ignorance. And to defeat all this, we have tried to engage them in various forums. Yet, you are seeing indeed, actually the corruption level and the greed level is even increasing, and no one is doing something about it. Should we sit back as a good citizen and watch, as we're talking right now, the borrowing level of this country has skyrocketed, and to repay, you've seen normally when you borrow highly, you have to raise taxes for you to repay. And to repay that high taxes right now is triggering into inflation. People are crying and you're feeling it all over. And over and above all this borrowing, how well has it been spent? You can see people borrowed and the effect of the borrowing is not being felt in the country. And to feel the impact, actually the negative impact, if it is not well audited and accounted for, the negative impact will be that our children or the next generation will be paying these loans. And these loans, did they end up in people's pockets or were they well used? If they are not well used, then we need people who can bring
back with more on this conversation very shortly. Citizen Esther taking a very short break now. We're back with more right after this break. Stay tuned.